Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Just how high could the price of XRP go when inevitably the appeals regarding the SEC and Ripple debacle ultimately go away? Because that's going to, it's my opinion. There's about 100% chance this is going to happen. The war on crypto is over. It's just a matter of fact that, that comes from Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America. We're just wrapping everything up here effectively. That's what happened. So what could happen? Well, this is a great question to be asking because you know what happened Sunday night? On Sunday night, we got new word from a source who has shown a history of having inside knowledge in the world of crypto that the SEC and Ripple lawsuit, it's about to end. Now, this comes after you, and I'm sure most of you are aware, within the last week at some point, I can't remember, it's been 4, 5, 6 days, everything blurs together all the time, but Fox Business journalist Eleanor Terrett, she reported, because she has sources, that yes, indeed, the Ripple lawsuit, the appeal specifically, that they're working on wrapping that up. And so it looks like it really was Ripple that was holding things up because they're the power player now. Because the government from the top on down, they want to get rid of the war on crypto, including the SEC. And so Ripple's like, well, wait a minute, you're trying to, like, you're appealing us, we're appealing you. Why should we stop? You want to stop now. Why should we stop? It's one of those types of things. So there's strategy to this, and you'll see why in just a second here. But so we knew that was happening. We knew that was, there were sources stating that. But now we've got more sources stating very similar stuff as of Sunday evening. So that's why I say it's kind of worth a conversation as to what this might mean for the price of XRP when ultimately such news breaks that this is all just over. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so the latest information, the inside scoop, comes from Andrew Parrish. Now, he is well known. In fact, let me just highlight this first. So I was looking up some background info about him. I came across this page. It's just from an Apple podcast here. And here's what they wrote. It's a podcast called Eric Golden. I'm not familiar, not that that matters. Anyway, so this is Eric Golden, and my guest this week is Andrew Parrish. Andrew's Twitter account, AP_abacus, has grown based on his access to rumors and information about crypto. He is no stranger to controversy in getting information flow. Andrew is aware his views and tweets can upset some, especially those in power he may be calling out. Andrew's background and information gathering helped him identify several high-profile issues with businesses like FTX and Gemini, and his Twitter account has become a go-to source for breaking rumors. Andrew is the co-founder of Arch Public, which is building automated trading algorithms and blockchain authentication for brands and alternative assets. So that's who he is, and here's what he shared out of nowhere Sunday night at 10:49 p.m. Central Time. Update. 2 SEC sources believe Ripple case is very close to ending. Some expected outcomes, and he's got 3 bullet points. Number 1, and this is a quote from a source. Expect XRP to get serious commodity consideration. That's interesting. Number 2, greatly reduced fine, greatly reduced. And that's in all caps. The second greatly, it's in all caps. I'll note for those of you not looking at the screen. And so the fine now, the penalty, it's at $125 million. I wonder what that means. So there will be something, it looks like, if this is correct anyway, but what? And then number 3 here, new leadership knows this case and how they handle it is a big deal. Precedent. Okay, so that's big stuff, and it's coming from somebody who's got a bit of a track record and people go to as a source for breaking news. So he's got some sources, obviously. Attorney John Deaton took note of this. This is actually how I came across this. Attorney John Deaton reposted this from Andrew Parrish with the little looky eyeball thing, that emoji on X, because it's fascinating. And John Deaton, he has shared some other stuff from Andrew in the past, which I have shared on my channel. I can't remember specifically what it was at the time, but this one's going to be pretty memorable, I'm thinking. That's for damn sure here. So if this is indeed going to wrap up, it begs the question, how is the market going to respond? And look, in my mind, like, even if this were fabricated, it's still going to happen at some point. I'm not saying it is fabricated. In fact, if it's coming from this guy and he's got a good track record, okay, let's take that into account. If he's got a good track record, He's going to be taken more seriously than some sort of fly-by-night individual that's saying the same thing, right? But what does this actually mean? Well, let's look at how the markets responded in the past when there's been big news breaking surrounding the lawsuit. Of course, the first really big one after the lawsuit hit, because, I mean, you know the market tanked, right? I mean, XRP went from 58, 59 cents, somewhere around there anyway, in late December, cratered down to like 16 cents. And then it did rally up to $2 at the peak for that market cycle several years ago, but market responded, right? And then when XRP got legal clarity on July 13th, 2023, XRP Victory Day, market rallied tremendously. But just to be clear, like, we were in a moment where, like, the months after that, the entire crypto market slid. But on that day, XRP pumped and Bitcoin followed down to the minute. Now, obviously not as big a percentage gain as XRP on that day, because that was XRP specific news. Bitcoin followed XRP July 13th, 2023. You'll love to see it. Bitcoin maxis didn't like it, but it's facts. Them's the facts. So anyway, so the price of XRP almost doubled in about 4 hours. It was worth, I don't know, I can't remember, it was 45, 50 cents, somewhere around there. And it peaked, I think, somewhere around 93 cents. Just look up, if you want the exact numbers, look it up. But it was about that. And so we didn't know that was going to come. We didn't know for sure that's what Judge Torres would rule. So understandably, the market got really excited, and that's what happened. That was the outcome. And of course, those gains, it went back down to about baseline in the coming months. But again, the whole market was sliding. And so I speculate that had we not had that good news, XRP would have dipped below rather than be at parity before that news broke that level. I think it probably would have dipped even lower. It was higher. There were more people in XRP than otherwise would have been, so presumably someone would have held on there. And so that's how the market responded then. But what about when the case actually wrapped up? So here's the headline from August 8th, 2024. XRP jumped 17%, beating Bitcoin gains as Ripple SEC case ends. And so that's when we got everything, including the penalties. It was over a year after XRP got legal clarity. That's when it was entirely officially wrapped up. Unless, of course, there was going to be an appeal, which we know that there was. But the market didn't care as much. Like, you're like, okay, whatever. Market responded, jumped 17%. I think some of that was taken back shortly after that. Not a big deal. The market didn't really care. They were happy that it was over. Okay, whatever. Well, then what was the next big thing after that? It came October 2nd. Here's my post on October 2nd, 2024. I shared Crypto Law's post. That's John Deaton's organization. Crypto Law wrote, breaking. The SEC has filed a one-page notice of appeal of the ruling of Judge Annalisa Torres in the Ripple case. So that's how we found out that the SEC was officially appealing. So I reposted that and I wrote, the asshat pricks over at the SEC have decided to appeal the Ripple lawsuit. Facepalm. And somebody, by the way, wrote to me and said, that is the end of any bull market for XRP. Very cool. Oh, that aged like a fine milk, which is what I expected. I wrote, and so mind you, at the time that happened, so the news broke around 4 p.m. Central Time, and I posted this at 4:13 p.m., so it had been out for all of like 10, 12 minutes, something like that. And so that's when this guy's like, well, that's it for XRP, it's over. Well, I responded to him and I said, XRP has only gone down 1 cent since the news broke. Okay, most holders understand that XRP is legal clarity, and the SEC is only appealing the decision that specifically has to do with Ripple's transactions, not secondary market transactions. So that was just a bad take from him, and obviously we know what happened. XRP did go on to hit a new all-time high, and so that did age like a fine milk, and that shouldn't be too terribly surprising. And so I wanted to share with you, I think this post here. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but this is a post I wrote the day later. So it was it was 4:49 p.m. the following day. So, not quite 25 hours later after the news broke. And I wrote, this is not how speculators behave during massive panic induced by scary sounding news developments. This is how speculators behave during inconsequential news developments. It's now been over 24 hours since we found out the asshats at the SEC decided to appeal the Ripple decision. There has been only minimum negative price action from this news. The news broke about 4 p.m. Central Time yesterday, but for roughly the next hour and a half, the price of XRP dropped quickly. But it only dropped from about 56 cents to about 53 cents, or roughly 5%. and let me just pause to say this too. The price of XRP, and I think I might have mentioned it at some point in this piece, the price of XRP before that news broke was already dropping, and then when the news came out, you could see visually, it looked like the price of XRP fell off a cliff. Now, it was just about 5% from there, but visually it was just like, it was a plummet, and then back up a little bit and sideways, basically. And so some people were arguing that, no, what are you talking about? It's down like 10%. I'm like, no, not from the news. From the news, it's down roughly 5%, and that is true here. So it's obvious the market just didn't give a damn, right? And I wrote, for the next roughly 22 hours after that, the price of XRP has mostly moved sideways, a little up, a little down, but nothing crazy. During moments of real massive panic by speculators, holders don't only freak out for an hour and a half and then allow the market to more or less trade sideways for nearly a whole day. It's not like people panic sell, then collectively decide to not panic sell over the news for 22 hours, and then resume panic selling. That is not how humans work. Nothing happened that would have caused a pause in panic if the panic were widespread. Now, folks, to me, that was glaringly obvious, and I was correct about that. As history has played out, you can look at the price chart. I was correct about that. And so think about what happened in December 2020 when the SEC sued Ripple. The price dropped, and it dropped for a straight freaking week. A week, okay? And here, it dropped for about an hour and a half, and that was it. Doesn't that tell you that almost 0% of XRP holders gave a damn about this news? And so it's just interesting to see, okay, so do people care about this at all? And if they don't care when there's a negative story surrounding this, would they care if there's a positive story? And that's the reason that I'm taking the time to highlight all of this. Well, the answer might be yes. More on that in a second. But what about this? This is worth noting too. November 21st, 2024, I shared this post. I was sharing one of my videos on X, and I wrote, XRP prices pumping on official news. SEC Chair Gensler is resigning. Again, that's November 21st of last year, 2024. And down to the minute, XRP just was blasting off. Now, that's fascinating because that wasn't even XRP specific, but XRP specifically was responding in grand fashion. Specifically, XRP was. So in people's minds, they're thinking, oh, okay, so the Ripple lawsuit goes away. So, but that's what's fascinating me about this. So they didn't give a damn when we got bad news. The price barely went down. But then when you get news that isn't even specifically related, the price of XRP blasts off because the assumption is that the lawsuit, the appeals anyway, they go away. Yeah. And now why would that be? Well, this is in the weeks after Trump got elected. And if you were there, and you were right, pretty much all of you, I'm guessing about 100% of you were there, in November of last year, there was a lot of excitement. So when you're in an exuberant moment and you get news that people could even like halfway excuse as being related somehow, that's when you get that type of movement, right? And so that brings us to the what's going to happen now? Well, here's a post from chart analyst Dom, and he's one of the many analysts I follow who accurately called that XRP would be breaking out this cycle, and it did hit a new all-time high. We're not done yet. But here's what Dom had to say about this. XRP pumped 100% in 4 hours when the SEC declared it not a security. Do I think something similar will happen this time? No. Back when this happened in July 2023, the market wasn't really expecting it, and it was solely focused on the coin itself. This time around, the market has high confidence it's coming, especially with the news leak today. Now, if the market was raging and the lawsuit was settled, I think it would cause a much greater impact due to risk appetite. But if it happens anytime over the next week or so, I think we'll be lucky to see a plus 20%. The more substantive hope is Ripple has been waiting for this to announce some things they have been working on. If you think XRP is topped, this news may be your little exit pump. Okay, I don't, as far as the Ripple part, I don't think that matters at all. So I just respectfully disagree just on that one specific point. The rest of it, I think he's pretty spot on. Yeah, look, the market's not hot this second. Like, I still firmly believe, yes, we're in a bull market, but the market's not as exuberant as it was in November. I think that's fair to say, right? Who's going to dispute that, right? Now, if this ends once the market's back into like euphoria mode, yeah, that could be that could be a catalyst. It actually could. But I would agree with him if we're just kind of moving sideways and it's just a random day and the news drops, it'll be exciting for us in the community and we'll talk about it. I'll make a video about it, of course. We'll have discussions. But is it going to be something that's going to be causing finally true price discovery for XRP? If it's literally this environment, I'm skeptical. I'm with Dom on that one. I would think no. But could it lead to true price discovery if it's a little bit further along and we get back to the part where it's clear altcoins are pumping again and we're starting to have that blast off phase? Then I'd say yes. So it just depends here. And think about this. I mean, again, the market didn't care about the negative news and there wasn't that much going on. We weren't in some sort of scary mode in the world of crypto either. But then we get in an excited mode and it's news about Gensler and that pumps, and that's going to be more significant than the appeal ending? Come on. The appeal ending obviously is more substantial to this specifically and to XRP than Gensler. Like, we knew Gensler was going to go away. That was a virtual certainty. So it really does come down to market exuberance. If we're going to have a ton of exuberance, I think Dom pretty much nailed it on that point. But you guys can tell me what you think in the comment section below. Either way, I think that this thing's going to wrap up, and I hope that Andrew Parrish, I hope his sources are real. I hope they are correct, and it happens sooner than later, because I'd rather just have this thing over. I think XRP goes parabolic regardless. Even if this isn't the catalyst for it, because it happens at a time where there's not enough exuberance, all right, whatever. It doesn't matter. XRP already has legal clarity. I personally don't give a damn in that sense anyway. I find it interesting just because I'm in the community. I'm following the story just like the rest of you find it interesting. But XRP is still going to rally regardless of any of that crap. That's what I think. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.